Welcome back to Grid Drop. Today we're going to help you get faster around one of Formula One's newest tracks, Las Vegas. If you enjoy this video, feel free to leave any feedback or questions in the comment section, or in my Discord, which is linked in the description. That being said, let's get right into it. This video will be broken down into 5 sections: car setup, Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3, and finally, a full lap. These sections are all equally important, so stay tuned to the end of the video if you really want to improve. Here's the setup I run in Vegas. Feel free to pause the video and screenshot this if you want to try out the setup on your own. This setup prioritizes front-end grip throughout the entirety of the track without sacrificing straight-line speed. As a disclaimer, the setup is a general baseline for you to start with and applies to both hot laps and a race. I recommend doing a few laps with the setup and tweaking it to fit your own style. Heading into the first corner, keep to the right side of the track and pay attention to the meter boards on the right. You want to brake right at the 100 meter board. Under braking, keep as close to the wall as possible. Once you pass the 50 meter board, start turning into the corner. You want to stick close to this curb on the left at first, before slowly widening out towards the middle of the track. Be careful on the throttle here. A slow, steady increase is what you want, as a spike in throttle will send you into a spin. Once you start straightening out a little more, increase the throttle. By the time you're heading into the next corner, you should be at full throttle. The next corner is a long right-hander, so stay flat into the corner. Once you start turning in at a harsher angle, start lifting off the throttle. This corner is based almost completely on the feel of the car, so I recommend paying attention to your force feedback throughout the corner when doing some practice laps. As for the ideal line, you want to be tighter to the curb upon entry and slowly widen out. Once widening out, you can slowly increase the throttle as you decrease your steering angle. Once facing the wall on exit, you can generally go back to full throttle as long as your line is steady enough. Try to get close to the wall on exit in order to maximize the width of the track and make sure to enable DRS. Down the straight now, the next corner is a sharp right-hander following a hard braking zone. Pay attention to the meter boards on the left. You want to brake just between the 150 and the 100 meter board. A couple of meters after the 50 meter board, start turning in. You can use the curb here, but it's a little raised, so you have to be a little cautious. Once mid-corner, get back on the throttle and keep it as close as you can to the wall on exit. Increasing the throttle now, sway towards the middle of the track. Once the long left-hander approaches, you can either keep to the left side of the curb or stay in the middle. Either one works. There isn't really a reference point for braking here, you kinda just have to feel it out. I like to brake a little earlier than normal here, as a lockup into this corner will send you into a wall and give you front wing damage. I definitely recommend doing some practice laps and feeling out your own style of braking here. Under braking, stick to the right wall. This gives you a wider line into the next corner. Keep your eyes on the apex of this corner and turn in accordingly. You can use some of the curb here, but again, it's slightly raised, so try not to cut it too much. Very cautious on the throttle here, switch your steering angle to the right, and again, you can take some of the curb here. Staying to the middle right side of the track is important here, so a light tap of the brakes is okay if needed. It's better to brake and lose a little time, but stay on the line as opposed to veering too wide and losing a lot of time. At the middle of the track, sway to the right and prepare for the next corner. Again, there isn't too much of a reference point for braking here, so when you get close to the wall on the right, start turning in, and once you're turning in, you want a slight tap of the brakes into the corner. Once at mid-corner, you should be back on the throttle and accelerating again. On exit, sway out to the right-hand wall and punch the throttle. Now, fly down the straight. That's a run-through of Sector 1, now let's see it at full speed. Thankfully, Sector 2 is a little bit shorter. Coming up is a long, sweeping right-hand corner that's taken completely flat out. Stick to the right-hand wall for the entirety of this corner. Once the corner straightens out, naturally sway towards the middle of the track. Technically, the game's racing line has you stay in the middle of the track for the next left-hander, but I like to sway back to the right side as it allows for a straighter braking zone into the hard left-hander. When approaching the corner, there aren't any meter boards to pay attention to, so instead brake immediately after this bridge overhead. Under braking, be extremely cautious. It's very easy to lock up here, as for some reason the track is super slippery. To that same point, be very cautious on the throttle when accelerating at mid-corner. As a heads up, when turning in, it's very easy to understeer and hit this right wall, so make sure to be cautious on the throttle and rotate the car smoothly. After exiting the corner, stomp the power down and fly down the straight, and remember to enable DRS at the line. So that's a breakdown of Sector 2, now let's see it at full speed. Sector 3 is really only one corner. When heading down the straight, stay to the right side of the track and watch for the meter boards on the right. You want to brake just after the 150 meter board. Under braking, stick to the right as it's easy to sway towards the middle accidentally. Start turning in just after the 50 meter board and try to have your line be a little harsher as a straight shot through the chicane is best. Be cautious on the throttle at first, but with the proper line you can jam it down pretty aggressively at the end of the first corner. Slowly getting back on the power now, aim to cut as close to this left wall as possible. Now sway to the right side of the track in order to fully extend. Now it's the final push to the finish. Flying down the straight now, stick to the right side of the track. The final corner is taken flat out, just keep the throttle pinned and use a simple outside, inside, outside line. That's a look at Sector 3, now let's see it at full speed. Now let's take a look at a full lap. So there you have it, a full lap of Las Vegas broken down corner by corner and sector by sector. If you have any questions or need more tips, feel free to leave a comment on this video or in my Discord. Also, let me know if you want to see more track guides, and if so, which ones would you like to see. So if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.